Okay, I think we are live now. If you can hear my voice, please do let me know. Is my voice audible? Okay then, thanks for the confirmation. I think we are good. Okay then, thanks for the confirmation. I think we are good to go. Good evening students, I am Vishwas here. We will be looking at logical reasoning, which is part of the CSEET program or the erstwhile CS Foundation. So if you are not aware of CSEET, I would suggest please go ahead and check our playlist on CSEET. You will get a good idea about what exactly this course is all about, and also about the syllabus overview of logical reasoning specifically. So there is a separate video. In fact, there are a couple of videos on that. So now let us do one thing. Let us solve few problems which is part of your syllabus, and that way it will be easy for us to get an idea as to what exactly is there in this logical reasoning. I hope that is fine. At any point of time, if you are not able to hear me, or if there is any issues with regard to the streaming, please do let me know so that I will be able to do something on my end. Okay. So with that thing clear, let us dive into the lesson straight away. Now, let us look at the syllabus first. So this is part of the subject, or rather the paper 2, that is legal aptitude and logical reasoning. So this entire subject is for 50 marks and 25 marks is reserved for logical reasoning. And further, there is a subdivision in logical reasoning itself. So let us look at that subdivision as well. So if you look at this, so now we are in logical reasoning. So we have 3 subdivisions here. One is the logical reasoning, that is consisting of various topics like calendars, cause and effect, clocks, etc. Then verbal reasoning, and finally non-verbal reasoning. So that was a brief overview of the syllabus. Now what we will do here in this live class is we will pick few topics from the vast area of topics which we have here. We cannot obviously cover everything today. So what I will do is I will pick few interesting questions, and then we will see how to solve those questions. Okay, so that should be fine. Let us proceed further. Now the very first topic which I have selected is the calendars, which is in fact the first topic in your reference material as well. And one more thing about the study material, that is only a reference material, so you cannot strictly go by that. It's not as if only those questions which are there in the reference material will come in the exam. And in fact the questions which are there in reference material are fairly easy. So if only those questions are asked, you can easily score 25 out of 25 in logical reasoning. So now let us look at one important concept in case of calendars. So in case of calendars, we have a concept called odd day. Now what is this odd day? So every year we'll have few odd days or one odd day, and it gets accumulated, and finally we do something with regard to that odd days. So now how do we ascertain how many odd days are there in a year? For this, that is to ascertain how many odd days are there in a year, we need to understand how many weeks are there in a year. So tell me, how many weeks are there in a year? I'm sure you already know the answer. Of course, yes, as Dhanush here says, it is 52 weeks. Now this entire concept of odd days is based on this 7 days equals 1 week principle. So we know very well that 7 days will make up 1 week. Now how many weeks are there? As you have already mentioned, it is 52 weeks. Now if you calculate the number of days in a year based on the number of weeks, how many days will we get? Let us see how many days will be there if you go by the number of days and number of weeks. So if you look at this, we have 52 weeks in a year, and we also know that we have 7 days in a week. So based on this, 52 weeks into 7 days, you will actually get only 364 days. Whereas in a normal year, that is other than leap year, how many days will be there? You will have 365 days. So now, according to weeks concept, you will only get 364 days. Whereas we are considering 365 normally. Of course, leap year, it will be 1 day extra. So now we can easily calculate odd days. Odd days in this case will be nothing but 365, which we are considering generally, minus 364 according to number of weeks and days per week. So in this case, that will be 1 odd day. So we are left with 1 day, which is considered as odd day. This is the concept of odd day. So how many odd days will be there in any normal year? There will be 1 odd day generally. Whereas in case of a leap year, we know for a fact there will be 366 days instead of 365. So therefore, in case of leap years, the number of odd days will increase by 1. So it will be 366, that is the number of days which we consider in a leap year, minus 364, which is according to number of weeks, 52 weeks into 7 days per week. So in a leap year, we will have 2 odd days. So this is the concept of odd days. Now, there is a concept of leap year as well, which requires a detailed discussion. That concept of leap year is completely based on the odd days. Okay. So now we will not go there. So we will restrict ourselves to only the concept of odd days. Now, let us look at one problem based on number of days in a week. Now we know that today is a Thursday. Now if I ask you 51 days from now, what day will it be? So what would be your answer? Today we know is a Thursday. My question here is 51 days from now, what day of the week will it be? So for that we can easily calculate. How do we calculate? Just like this. We have 7 days in a week. And what we have to do is, here the question is about 51 days. Now try to divide this 51 by 7. So now if you divide 51 by 7, you will get 7 7s are 49. Okay, 51 is not divisible by 7 obviously. The closest number which is divisible is 49. So now 51 is the number of days in the question. From that 51, deduct 49 days, which is the closest number which is divisible by 7. So how many days, what is the number 51 minus 49? That would be 2 days. Okay. So now we have 2 days here. So how do we derive the answer? That is very simple. What we have to do is, today being Thursday plus dash odd days. How many odd days did we get in the previous calculation? We got 2 odd days. So Thursday plus 2 odd days, that is Friday and Saturday. So therefore the answer in this case is Saturday. Thursday, let me make it very simple. Thursday plus 2 days equals Saturday. So therefore the answer to the question, which day it will be 51 days from now, is in fact Saturday. How did we calculate? We calculated based on number of odd days. So first what you have to do is take the number in the question. The number in the question is 51. Try to divide that by 7. Of course, you won't be able to divide. So the closest number which is divisible is 49. Find out the difference between 51 and 49. You will get 2 days. And then add those 2 odd days to Thursday, which will get us to Saturday. So therefore the answer is Saturday. So this is a very simple concept based on the topic calendars. So we will be in the live classes looking at various other topics as well based on the concept of calendars. And my favorite topic in that topic of calendars is the leap years. So let us look into that concept when we begin the live classes. For now, let us restrict only to this particular concept in calendars. So moving on, let us move to another topic called cause and effect. Let us read what exactly this topic is all about. Now, if you look at the paragraph, it says, in each of the following questions, two statements numbered 1 and 2 are given, meaning there will be two statements in the question itself. There may be cause and effect relationship between the two statements. What they are trying to say is there are two statements and the keyword which they are using is there may be cause and effect relationship between the two statements. It may not be there as well. Now, moving on. These two statements may be the effect of the same cause or independent causes. So there are various permutations already. It might be effect of same cause. Maybe there is one event which is causing these two statements, or it might be independent causes. We do not know. Okay. So it might not have any relationship. So our concern is to check if there is any relationship between the two, there is two statements, or if there is no relationship between the two statements. And if there is relationship, what kind of relationship is there between statement 1 and statement 2. That's all. So this is a brief overview of the topic cause and effect. Now let us look into the question. Of course, we have various options here. We have to mark 1 if statement 1 is the cause and statement 2 is the effect. We have to mark 2 if statement 2 is the cause and statement 1 is the effect. And likewise, we have various other options as well. So now let us look at the first question and then we will decide which of these 5 options would be ideal in that case. Now this is the question which we have. So the question says, there is unprecedented increase, unprecedented, never seen before increase in the number of young unemployed in comparison to the previous year. What they are trying to say is unemployment has increased. Okay. Now, compared to the previous year, that is statement number 1. Now let us read statement 2. A large number of candidates submitted applications against an advertisement for the post of manager issued by a bank. Now we have two statements here. One statement, that is the first statement, says this year compared to previous year we have a huge increase in the young unemployed, meaning they have maybe passed out of college, or maybe they have completed the degree or post graduation, whatever it is, but they are unemployed compared to previous year. And the second statement says a large number of the candidates submitted applications against advertisement for post of manager issued by the bank. So now our job here is to check which of these options will be the correct option for these two statements. We have to find out the relationship between those two statements, if at all it exists. So now let us look at each of these statements. The first option says, if statement 1 is the cause and 2 is the effect, mark 1. If statement 2 is the cause and statement 1 is the effect, mark 2. And if both the statements 1 and 2 are independent causes, then select option 3. Select option 4 if both the statements 1 and 2 are effects of independent causes, meaning they are causes but it's effect of independent causes. Finally, we have if both the statements 1 and 2 are effects of some common cause, then mark 5. So in fact we have 3 answers already here. Sam, Vegu, Dhanush and Rakshita, they have all marked option 1, and in fact that is the right answer. If you look at this, since there is an unprecedented, that is never before seen increase in the number of young unemployed, we have many people applying for the job of manager issued by a bank. So therefore, in this case, there is a relationship between statement 1 and 2. And in fact, what kind of relationship is there between 1 and 2? Statement 1 is the cause and statement 2 is its effect. So that is the kind of relationship which we are seeing here. Therefore, we have to select option 1, and option 1 is the right answer here. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask at any point of time. Now, let's move on to the second question. So the question goes like this. Let us look at the statement first. The employees of the biggest bank in the country have given an indefinite strike call starting from 3rd of next month. Okay. So now there is strike call. Okay. The employees or some union has given a call for some strike. Okay. Next. This is statement 1. Let us look at statement 2. The employees of central government have withdrawn their week-long demonstrations. So they have withdrawn their week-long demonstrations. Now these are the two statements which we have here. Once again, our job here is to identify if there exists any relationship between the two. If you think there exists relationship between the two, then you will have to see which of these options will be ideal in that case. So now we have one answer. Once again, Dhanush has answered and he says it is option 3. Let us see which option it is. Now the first option says statement 1 is the cause and 2 is the effect. Second option says statement 2 is the cause and 1 is the effect. Third one says both statements 1 and 2 are independent causes. And fourth option says both the statements 1 and 2 are effects of some independent causes. So now obviously first and second options are ruled out. Why? Because there is no direct relationship between these two statements. Because the first statement is talking about what? The employees of the biggest bank, some bank, whichever bank it is. Okay. Whereas the second statement is talking about employees of the central government. So employees of central government do not have anything to do with employees of biggest bank. Those two are different entities altogether. Okay. So therefore we can easily rule out the first and second option. So therefore we'll have to now check between third, fourth and fifth options only. Okay. So now that being the case, let us see which option suits this particular question. Third option says what? If both statements 1 and 2 are independent causes, okay, or statement 1 and 2 are effects of independent causes. Fifth one says if they are effects of common cause. There is no common element between these two, so therefore we can rule out fifth option as well, since there is no common element between bank and the central government employees. So now we are left with only option 3 and option 4. Now let us go back and read the statements once again. The first statement says what? The employees of the biggest bank in the country have given an indefinite strike call starting from the 3rd of next month. Okay. So now this is an action. Calling for strike is an action. Why have they called for strike? Because of some reason. Because of some reason, there might be some event. Because of that, they have called for strike. Likewise, the employees of central government have withdrawn their week-long demonstration. That is also action. Why have they done so? Because of some reason. Maybe they had few demands. They had placed their demands in front of the central government. The central government perhaps agreed to those demands, and therefore now they have withdrawn their week-long demonstrations. That is also an action. So now we have two actions for which we have two separate reasons. So therefore, with this thing in mind, which option would you select now? We have various answers. In fact, fourth, third, in fact, second, first and fifth is anyway ruled out. So of course, yes, who answered it correctly? Someone said fourth earlier. In fact, Hema Sai Kumar was the first person to mention the fourth option, and that is in fact the right option. Fourth option is the correct option in this case, because these two statements are effects of independent causes. Employees of the biggest bank going for strike is also an effect. Employees of central government withdrawing is also an effect. So all those who answered fourth option are in fact correct. Okay, I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, as usual, you can ask. Now let us move on to the next question, last question in cause and effect. Okay, this is a very easy question. The government has decided to make all the information related to primary education available to the general public. So government has done something now. What has the government done? It has decided to make all the information related to primary education available to general public. So this is nothing but an action here. Okay, government doing something. Now let us look at the second statement. In the past, the general public did not have access to all these information related to primary education. So this is a fact. This is nothing but a fact. In the past, this is what was the situation. Now, the government, maybe the government thinks that because people were unaware of this primary education program, maybe that program was not successful. Therefore, what the government did, it took action. What kind of action did it take? It took the action of making all the information related to primary education available to general public. So as I said, this is a very easy question and most of you, in fact all of you are right. Option 2 is the right answer. Statement 2 is the cause. This was the cause, and statement 1, which is in fact the action, is the effect of this cause. I hope it is clear. Okay, so that was about cause and effect. Of course, since this is a demo class, I won't be going in detail into this topic. I have only picked few questions which I thought was interesting. So now we'll be moving to a different topic called the blood relations. Okay, blood relations, as the name itself says, is all about relations. We have to identify what is the relationship between those parties given in the question. Let us look at the question, then we'll be able to answer easily. So this is the question now. A girl introduced a boy as the son of the daughter of the father of her uncle. Once again, a girl introduced a boy as the son of the daughter of the father of her uncle. Okay, so now what we have to do here is we have to identify the relationship between boy and the girl here. So that girl is introducing a boy, and what does she say? She says this boy is the son of the daughter of the father of her uncle. Okay, let us try to understand this in a clear manner. Okay, we already have one answer. Hema says it is the brother, that is the girl's brother. Let us see if she is right. Now, who is the daughter of her uncle's father? Okay, who is the daughter of uncle's father? That would be none other than uncle's sister. Okay, if that person is your uncle, okay, and if his father has a daughter, then that would be obviously the sister. Okay, and who is that sister? That sister is none other than the mother of the girl. Once again, we are starting from the end. Okay, that way it will be easy for you to break the relationship. Okay, so what is that they're asking? They're asking us to find out the relationship here. So we start from the end. Who is the daughter of uncle's father? Uncle's father daughter is none other than uncle's sister. Uncle's sister is none other than girl's mother. Okay, so we have a girl and she has a mother. Her sister, her brother would be the girl's uncle. So that is something which we have already sorted. Now what is the second part? Son of the daughter of the father of her uncle. So now the next part, son of the daughter of the father. So now here there is a problem. We do not have options. Since we do not have options here, we can think of at least two relationships between girl and the boy. Let us see how. Muhammad Chatri says, I don't understand, this is too hard to remember. You don't have to remember, in fact. Let us break this once again. Father of uncle is none other than grandfather. Agree? Okay. And his daughter. Grandfather's daughter would be either your mother or your aunt if there are multiple daughters, and that person's son. If it is your mother, then that boy is your brother. If that person is your aunt, then that boy is your cousin. That's it. So this is the answer. If there were options, we could have easily selected the right option. In this case, there is no option given. Therefore, in this case, the boy could be either the brother or the cousin. I hope it is clear. If you have any doubts, please do ask. Okay. Fine then. Let's move on to the second question. Okay, Rita Panjwani says did not understand. Rita, if you tell me which part you did not understand, I can explain. What about others? Let me just go back here. I'll just explain once again for the benefit of Ria Panjwani. So the girl introduced boy as the son of daughter of the father of her uncle. So all you have to do is start from the end. Who is the father of your uncle? Agree, it is grandfather, your grandfather, right? Let's assume that you are the girl. Who is the father of your uncle? If you have an uncle, if you are referring to the father of that uncle, who would that be to you? That person would be obviously your grandfather. Okay. Now, the question further says, daughter of the father of her uncle. We have already established that father of the uncle is grandfather. And who is grandfather's daughter to you? Grandfather's daughter to you would be either your own mother or your aunt. That's all. And what is the relationship between this person's son and you? If it is your mother, then that boy would be your brother. If it is your aunt, then that person would be your cousin. That's it. I hope it is clear now. If it isn't, I would suggest go back and watch the video once again once we are done with the live session. And if it's still not clear, please drop in a comment. I will see how I can explain. Okay, Disha Nayak has a question. Is this subject easy or hard? Depends. If you think it is easy, it is really very easy. If you think it is hard, it's really very hard. I would say this is one of the most, not one of the most, I would go ahead and say this is the most easiest subject which you have. If at all there is any topic or any subject where you can easily score out of 4 in this entire CS EET, then that is logical reasoning. And not only that, in case of logical reasoning, the advantage which we have here is, if you are attempting any other competitive exams, it will be helpful there as well. Because in case of logical reasoning, the syllabus is same. Whether you take UPSC exams or banking exams or any other competitive exams, the kind of topics which you have as part of syllabus, that is CS EET syllabus, is same as whichever competitive exams you name. Name any competitive exam, you will have this topic, that is logical reasoning. Okay, so that way I would say this is one of the important topics and also the most easiest topics or subject which you have in CS Foundation or EET now. Anyway, let's proceed further. This is the, okay, Desha has one more question. CS EET versus CS Foundation, which is the best? CS EET without a doubt. Okay, anyway, Foundation is old now, it's no longer there. If you are in old syllabus, I would say switch over to EET. At least you will get to learn few interesting stuff. You didn't have logical reasoning there, you had accounts there. So accounts has been replaced by logical reasoning. Account syllabus there is really very vast. As an accounts teacher, in spite of accounts being my favorite, I would prefer CS EET over CS Foundation. Anyway, let's proceed further. Read the question and tell me what is the relationship between E and C here. Okay, I hope the question is visible. In a family, there are 6 members, A, B, C, D, E and F. Okay, that is the number of members in the family. A and B are married couple. Okay, so be it. Let us try to write this down. Okay, so now what is that they are trying to say? A and B are married couple. Okay, A and B are married couple. Fine. A being the male member. So let us do one thing here. This is the husband and this is the wife. Okay, Sam Vegu already has an answer. Daughter. Let us see if Sam is right. Now, D is the only son of C, who is the brother of A. Okay, A has a brother. That is C. C is the brother of A. So, brother. And C has a son, only son, D. Son. Then E is the sister of D. E is the sister of daughter. If she is D's sister, then what is she to C? Obviously a daughter. Then what else? B is the daughter-in-law of F, whose husband has died. Okay, daughter-in-law of, actually this relationship is not required. This is extra, not relevant to question actually. Whose daughter-in-law is B and F is in fact mother of both A and C. Now let us look at the question. So this is how you have to work it out in case of blood relations. Of course, you will be given a working paper, etc. during the exam. The moment you read the question, break the relationship into simple forms. So now, based on this, let us read the question. What is the question? How is E related to C? Now, how is E related to C? We have C here, we have E here. What is the relationship? Obviously, daughter. That's it. I hope it was easy. If you have any doubts, please do ask. Okay, yeah, of course, daughter is the right answer. Now, let us proceed further. Last question in case of blood relations, then we'll proceed towards number series. Now, this is the question. Once again, we have a blood relations question. Let us read the question. Very simple question actually. Pointing to a photograph, a woman says, "This man's son's sister is my mother-in-law." Once again, this man's son's sister, okay, is my mother-in-law. Okay, before we proceed further, Mohammed Chatri has a question. Is your channel supported by ICSI? We have nothing to do with ICSI, just that ICSI is the parent, what is that organization when it comes to, not even parent, is the authority for ICSI, sorry, the company secretary course, whereas we are a channel which I would say is kind of the unique channel in India, because we are the only channel who actually provides support for CS course in English. So we have got nothing to do with ICSI, just that few of our teachers are also members of ICSI. That's it. I hope it is clear. Anyway, let's come back. Man's son's sister. Okay. Man's son's sister is nothing but man's daughter. Agree? Okay. So Sam Vegu says grandfather. Let's see whether it is correct or not. Then, so we have already looked at this part. Then, is my mother-in-law. Okay. So that means whoever is in the photograph, he has a daughter, and that daughter is in fact the mother-in-law of that woman. Okay. And this woman has a husband. If that woman, if this mother-in-law, let me be very clear. If this daughter is mother-in-law to woman, she is nothing but mother to the husband. The woman in question and the daughter in question, their relationship is mother-in-law. Whereas her husband and this particular daughter, what is the relationship? That is that of mother. Now let us read the question. What does the question say? How is the woman's husband related to the man in photograph? How is this person related to this person? Now that is a very easy question. Now that we have broken down the relationship between various parties, we have this husband whose mother is the daughter of this man. If husband's mother is the daughter of the man who is in photograph, then that man is none other than grandfather. So what is the relationship between the man in the photograph and woman's husband? Woman's husband is none other than grandson of the man in the photograph. I hope it was clear. Okay, Disha has a question, sir. If a candidate does not have CSET module, then is it risk or not? Sorry, Disha, I didn't get your question. What do you mean by does not have CSET module? Are you referring to the books? You'll get the books on the website itself. I don't think CS Institute will send the books. I'm not so sure, in fact. Please check with the institute for that. But the reference material is available on the website. Now you can download the PDF and study that. If you have anything else, please ask. Okay, I hope it was clear. Any doubts regarding this? He is the grandson of the man in the photograph. So let us proceed towards next set of questions based on number series. Totally different topic. Let's see. Let's look at the question and then decide on the answer. Look at this series. We have 2, 6, 18 and 54. What is the next number? Okay, one more question. Muhammad Chatri says, I have opted for CSET. Can you share how is the CSET exam conducted? Muhammad, this will be objective type of exam and you will have, I believe, 3 hours for 4 subjects. I'm not so sure. Please check the document. I think we already have enough number of videos on this topic. So you can check the playlist which is part of the description of this video, and I'm sure you will get to know how exactly this is conducted. But basically it's MCQ type of exam. Okay. So all you have to do is click the right answer. We already have answers here. Hema and Adi, they say it is 162. Let us see if it is the right answer. So now what is the relationship between these 4 numbers? Based on that we can easily predict which is the next number in the series. Now if you look at this, you can easily make out the relationship here. How do we arrive at 6 from 2? We can easily arrive at 6 from 2 by multiplying 2 by 3. So 2 into 3 is 6. Now how do we arrive at 18 from 6? Once again by multiplying 6 by 3. How do we arrive at 54 from 18? Once again multiply that number, that is 18 by 3. So the next number obviously would be 54 into 3, which is nothing but 162. So that is your answer. I hope it is clear. Okay, next. Okay, yeah. Now we have few numbers here: 70, 71, 76, dash, 81, 86, 70, 91, so on. What we have to do here is find out this number. Can someone identify the number which is missing? So let us try to identify. Okay, Raksha has a question. August CSET exams postponed. The CS executive and professional exams are definitely postponed. I'm not so sure about August CST. Of course, the notification will be issued by the institute very soon, if they haven't already. Okay, we have various answers here: 77, 80, and we have multiple answers: 80, 80. Okay, let's see. Now, in this case, if you look at these numbers, so what is the relationship between these numbers? From 71, how do we arrive at 76? It's very simple. All that we have to do is add 5. Okay. Now, from 76, how do we arrive at 80? All that we have to do is plus 5 once, 81, no? One second. 81. All that we have to do is add 5. From 81, how do we arrive at 86? Once again, add 5. Okay. Then from 86, how do we arrive at 91? Once again, add 5. So this is how the series is progressing. If you look at the series once again, we have 71, 76, that is plus 5. Then 76 plus 5, 81. 81 plus 5, 86, 86 plus 5, 91. But apart from this, what they are doing is they are randomly inserting 70 in every third number. Okay, 70 is in fact the random number, which is the third number in the series. So 70, 2 more numbers, then once again 70, 2 more. Okay, so therefore in this case the missing number is none other than 70, which is in fact the random number. I hope it was clear. Any doubts regarding this? Anyway, let's proceed further. Okay, so the next topic is that of non-verbal reasoning, and in that, as you already know, there are various topics in non-verbal reasoning. The topic which I have selected is rule detection. Let us look at the question. I hope it is clear. In the given figure, triangle represents the healthy. Triangle, healthy. Okay. Square represents old. Circle represents men. Find out the area of the figure which represents the men who are healthy but not old. Healthy but not old. So we have various digits here. So if you look at this, you will get to know. All that you have to do is identify healthy men who are not old. All of, okay, Adi has mentioned the answers several times. Anyway, so Adi is in fact right, and so are others. The right answer in this case is option 2. Sorry, number 2. If you look at this diagram, we know for a fact triangle represents healthy. Okay, so how many numbers are there in triangle? 1, 2, 4, 3. So we have to deal only with 1, 2 and 4, 3. The rest of them are ruled out. Okay, because we are looking at only those who are healthy. But at the same time, we should also identify the square. In case of square, it represents old. Which are those numbers which are there in both triangle as well as square? That is obviously 4 and 3. So that is also ruled out. And what about men? All those who are part of this circle, they are men. So which is that only number which is part of this circle as well as triangle and which is healthy? So obviously that is number 2, and the answer to this question is 2. Next. We have 3 positions of a cube. You know, every cube will have 6 sides. Okay. So we have 3 positions. Now the question here is, what is the opposite of dollar sign? In case of this cube, which is that symbol which is the opposite of dollar sign? So if you look at the first picture, we have percentage next to cube. Okay. Likewise, we have star asterisk next to cube. So therefore, obviously, it is neither percentage nor star because it is adjacent to dollar sign. Then in the second diagram, we have plus symbol which is adjacent to dollar. So plus symbol is also not opposite to dollar sign. Likewise, we have power 2 symbol which is on top of dollar symbol. So that is also not opposite to dollar. Then in the last we have this and symbol which is in fact opposite to dollar symbol, because the rest of the symbols are adjacent to or next to dollar symbol. The only symbol which is not adjacent to dollar is the and. So therefore the right answer is this. Yes, in fact, all of you are right. It is and. Okay. So let us proceed further. In case of non-verbal, so you don't have to rely much on text. So you'll have to picture, your imagination should run very well in case of non-verbal reasoning. Only then you will be able to come up with the right answer. Let us proceed to the next one. Now, this is interesting. So even though it has text, it is completely a non-verbal question. Let's see what it is. We have a question regarding height. It says, Vineet is taller than Raman but shorter than Jyoti. Sumit is the shortest. Deepak is taller than Sumit but shorter than Raman. Who is the tallest? If you draw the diagram, you can easily come up with the answer within seconds. I will just give you a few seconds and see if you can come up with the right answer. Okay, Sam says it is Vineet. Let's see. Okay, so now let me draw the diagram here. Vineet, let this be Vineet, is taller than Raman. So let this be Raman. Okay, but shorter than Jyoti. Okay, Vineet is, okay, let me write the names as well. This is Vineet, who is taller than Raman but shorter than Jyoti. Then Sumit is the shortest. Okay, he is the shortest. Okay, Deepak is taller than Sumit but shorter than Raman. So Deepak is in between Raman and Sumit. So now who is the tallest here? Obviously Jyoti. All those who mentioned Jyoti are in fact right. Okay, I hope this was easy. There was nothing much happening there. Okay, let us proceed to the last question of this session and then we will wind up. So now this is the diagram which you have. So observe the diagram carefully and tell me the number of straight lines required to make the given figure. How many straight lines are required to come up with this diagram? Only 4? What about others? See, I will give you a clue. There are horizontal lines as well as vertical lines. Okay, Nancy says it is 14. Let's see if she is right. Okay, let us do one thing. Let us write down the names for the intersection points here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, 1 second. Let this be I, J. Then do we have anything else? Okay, K, L, M, N. Okay. So now let us start with 1 second, guys. Okay. I don't have the space to work. Let me just rewrite the names. Okay, let us look at vertical lines first. AK, BL, CM, DN, EI, FJ. Okay, so these are the vertical lines. Did I miss any vertical line? I guess not. Okay, let us look at the horizontal lines. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, M, N, K, L, I, J. So how many vertical lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then how many horizontal? 7. So 6 plus 7, we have 13 lines. Okay, 13 lines is in fact the right answer. So if you get questions like these, what you should do is you should first name them so that it will be easy for you to identify the lines, and you will also be able to identify whether you are repeating the same lines again and again or not. Okay, now Nancy has a question, sir. Between C and D, is it considerable? C and D, are you talking about this point? No, this is part of the same line. No, it is not a fresh line. So it's already part of C and D. So it is not as if there is a new line. Otherwise, then every point will have to be considered as a new line. So that won't make sense. No. Okay. Thank you for being part of the live session. This was a very brief overview of what you have as part of CSEET syllabus. If you have anything to ask with regard to CSEET in general or logical reasoning specifically, you are free to ask. Okay, Hema Sai says, please explain the topic of coding and decoding. Coding and decoding is one of the most easiest topics. That's why I didn't take it up for today's session. That will be taken up as part of the live classes, which will start on 1st of August. So if you are interested in joining the live classes of Excel Academy, please do fill the form which is part of the description of this video, and we'll get back to you soon. Thank you. It was a very interactive session. Thanks for making it a very interactive session. Otherwise, logical reasoning won't be fun. So if you have any doubts, you are free to ask. Otherwise, we will wind up the session. Calculator obviously should be allowed. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Without calculator, I don't think you can do, especially in case of number series. Otherwise, calc is not required. But working notes for sure is required. Otherwise, you can't work it out. How much marks for logical reasoning? Logical reasoning and legal aptitude both put together, it will be for 50 marks. So logical reasoning 25, legal aptitude 25. So that is how it has been split between these two topics. Thank you, Hema. I too enjoyed the session. It was a very interactive session. Thank you. Okay, let's see if anyone else has any question regarding CSEET or logical reasoning. When is the next class? The next live class is scheduled for tomorrow. I think all the subjects are already done. Please check the playlist, and I'm sure it will be updated on the channel. If you have already not subscribed to our Excel Academy's channel, please do subscribe. You will get a notification if at all if there is any live class pending. We have been conducting live class since 1 week now. So we have conducted live class for all the subjects. In fact, you can go back and check our old classes as well, which we conducted in sometime in June. So you can check those classes as well. So we had conducted one session of every subject back in June. A logical reasoning subject itself is interesting. So all that you have to do is think logically. That's it. So there is no set syllabus for this. What they have done is they have given few topics. Based on those topics, we will be solving problems in the class. It's a very interesting session. I really enjoy this teaching this subject. Okay, Mohammed has a question. CSET will it be computer based exam from home? I highly doubt. You will be required to go to the exam center. There you will be sitting in front of a computer and selecting the right answers, but I don't think it will be conducted from from students' homes. So I guess that is not a possibility. How to study logical reasoning? Okay, there is a question by Sharda. Study in the sense, if you practice as many problems as possible, then it will be easy for you to crack the questions quickly. Live classes, will it be free? Whatever you find on YouTube, of course, it is free. But for the rest of the classes, you will have to pay a nominal fee. In fact, it's a heavily discounted course now. So I would suggest if you are taking up the exams, take it up. It shouldn't be that difficult. You can follow the link in the description. You will get the details there, Vaishnavi. Anything else? Okay guys, thanks for